Big John, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Oh.
Don't worry, take your time, get situated. We'll keep the show going. We'll also bring in your son and have Johnny Fisher alongside as well. Oh, he's not? He said no?
I was told to stay.
Oh, he wants you to get your own shine, Pops. All right.
He's leaving me.
He's leaving you. I don't mind it this way. I think that the world needs to know exactly who you are and all that you do for Johnny. I think you've built yourself a big personality and social media
and
presence.
a following.
Yeah, and social media presence, and you're a vital part of your son's team. You know, you allow him to have a clear head is the way that I look at it. And I'm all the way over here across the pond, you know, but the way that I interpret everything that you do is that you don't want him to be distracted. You want him to focus on training and on camp, and you'll worry about sponsorships. You'll worry about running around selling handing tickets. So, you know, I want to say, obviously, shout out to you for being a great father. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the world.
Yep, appreciate you having me on. A bit surreal for me because I am just a normal man.
Not anymore. Shout out to Johnny Fisher.
Yeah. No, it's just exactly what you said there. I see so many boxers having to worry about selling tickets, doing other things, and then they lose track of what the important thing is. So while I'm around, at least Johnny knows he hasn't got to worry about the ticket sales, sponsorships. I can do as much as I can for him because, as we all know, boxing's the hardest sport in the world. So you just got to concentrate 110% on that.
And because of that support, obviously Johnny has made a name that has made waves all the way here across the pond, all the way to Las Vegas. We've had him in our other studio. He's in Las Vegas to spar and train with Joe Joyce and has been in there with other top names in training. Just how, I guess, happy are you for your son?
Yeah, listen, any father, any self-respecting father wants to see their son or daughter do well in whatever they're doing. And for Johnny to be asked to come over here as a main sparring partner for Joe Joyce is just tremendous. And to get the chance to spar Carlos Takam as well, a true warrior of the sport. You know, I was lucky enough to go and watch the sparring the other night and people would have paid good money to see what I saw. And it's just crazy. But credit to Johnny, he works hard, he dedicates his life. Things like that don't get given to you, you have to earn them. So, you know, long may it continue.
Big John, just want to say welcome to Vegas. I know you're heading out today, but how's the time been? Obviously, not just are you here for Johnny, but here just enjoying yourself a little bit. So how's that been?
Listen, I'm here for Johnny, but obviously I'm here for myself as well. If he was in some sort of a not so good place, perhaps I wouldn't have come. But myself and my wife, we've had tremendous 3 nights. We've been to Las Vegas before when Johnny turned 21. He was out here training, and we came out to see him then. It's a tremendous place. Everyone's been great. The hotel here at the Wynn is unbelievable.
There's no food left in the buffet. It's all gone. He's eating it all.
Do you know what? The buffet beat me. The buffet beat me. I'm a big man, as you can see. I like my food. That's my only vice in life is food. But that even beat me. So big up to the Wynn buffet.
I've been telling him that we need to stop because every time we come here and leave here, that thing has a line. I'm like, we got to at least read the reviews. It looks like it's amazing. Did it have a good spread, a lot of options?
It had every option. It catered for every palate, totally.
Beautiful, beautiful. So obviously Johnny doesn't have a traditional boxing upbringing. So how did you take to him going from rugby to boxing, and what was your first thoughts?
Well, this is like a little bit of a myth there because Johnny started boxing when he was 6. I used to box myself. My granddad was a professional boxer, so boxing's in his blood. And I've introduced every single one of my sons to boxing because I think it's great for discipline, self-respect, fitness. And Johnny was the only one that took to it. Listen, you can take the horse to water, but it might not drink. You know, you can't force anyone into a boxing ring. And Johnny loved it, but then he was good at rugby as well. So it was just a toss-up at one time between the two. But to be honest with you, boxing's a lot safer than rugby, so I think he's made the right choice.
Safer? Wow. Can you explain?
Well, in boxing, you know who's in front of you. You've got one opponent. With rugby, I mean, Johnny's quite small compared to a lot of rugby players, and they're coming from all angles. He's broke his shoulder, he's broke his hand, he's broke his hand trouble, cuts, bruises, ribs.
You don't know where it's coming from as well. You talk about a shot, not knowing where a punch is coming from, but imagine a 22, 23 stone man not knowing where he's coming from. So
I can't imagine you being small. You're huge to me.
in rugby terms.
And I'm
I'm
6'5".
not a medium-sized guy, and I was a second row. I was playing second row at Exeter Uni. I was a small second row. I was small.
I was just trying to explain to him. He's like, oh, the heavyweight division, and we're losing all these athletes to other sports. And I'm like,
No, to football specifically.
but I was telling him, I'm like, you got to realize what size are heavyweight men. You're just in the world, it's a small population of a man that's even that size. So for you, I'm sure, because I've seen some humongous rugby players. Like, I've watched rugby a bit, so I definitely seen some huge guys.
So physical, such a physical game. And years ago, rugby players used to be a bit overweight, bit unfit, but now they're supremely fit. They're
in every position. You used to think the prop used to be the big, heavy, fat guy who used to hold up the scrum, but now every rugby player's got to be able to do everything.
They've done me out of a job. That's where I used to play, but I'm not wanted anymore. They don't want the fat guy anymore.
So, how long have you been planning to pop up and surprise Johnny? Because he didn't know you were going to come to Vegas.
We literally done it about 4 or 5 nights ago before we came. I was talking to my wife, talking to someone else, and they just said, look, Johnny, sparring Joe Joyce, potentially world champion in Vegas, you've got to be there. And we made the decision to come out. Sometimes in life you have to push yourself a little bit to do things. And this memory will stay with us for the rest of our life. And just great to be with Johnny. Like, we are supportive parents. We are a supportive family. We are together. So it's just been nice to spend a little bit of time with him. Listen, I don't get involved in any of the professional side. He's got his trainers. He's got his managers. He's got his promoters. I leave that to the people to know what they're doing. But I just give him fatherly advice and worldly advice when I can. But I'd also like to say he's got a great bunch of sponsors and he's got a great support network at home, especially like people on the Country Roads Posse. It's a group chat. He's got a real big lot of people behind him that think the best of him. So he's a lucky man in that respect.
So did this support come, do you think, from your time in rugby, or did all this just happen once you told the world that you were going to be a boxer?
I think it's not really any. The boxing's obviously helped, but before the boxing, where I'm from, the people that I'm around, we've got a great friendship group and family group. We've got a big family, and people from where we are always get behind each other in Essex and in Romford, and it helps when I went to university as well, because I go to university and the friends that I made there, they go and spread the word to where they live in the country, and that helped it spread quite far and wide. But I'm just very lucky to have, as my dad said, to have the support that I've got from my family, from my sponsors. And when you're a sponsor as well, you're not just a sponsor, you become part of our friendship group, and we want you to be part of the journey. It's not as if, you get a little advertising spot on my shorts or my T-shirt and that's it. We want people to be on the journey with me, and I've had people from the very beginning when I was an amateur, and they're still here, and it's great that people want to still be a part of it.
Do you feel that you'd be as known and just as known as you are now if you were American?
Yeah, I've had this question a lot. Like,
really?
In terms of what I would do if I was in the American market, is it different? Because it is very different. Even the way you interview me is very different to how I get interviewed back in England. So it's an interesting question. I think the way I fight, my style, it's an aggressive, it's an exciting style. In America, they'd understand that I'm not I've got the amateur pedigree as well. It's a unique route in terms of the way I've come into boxing. I didn't win a Golden Gloves or an ABA championships, as we call it in England. It's unconventional. So perhaps I would, because it's a unique and it's a different story into the world of boxing.
Only reason I ask is, I've never been fortunate to attend a boxing fight in the UK. Never been to the UK. But I just feel like, look, I'm Mexican, and I just feel like there's nothing like the British fans.
Yeah, you're right.
Like I
agree.
feel like even the Mexican fans will turn their back on. I feel like the British fans, there's like nothing like it, and I feel that it's almost a disgrace for a lot of American fighters who are extremely talented, but they just don't get that backing. Like,
that's true.
You know, especially that hometown pride.
Yeah.
Like, you guys take that very seriously.
Definitely.
Here it's like, it's non-existent.
I don't know. I think it's an American thing, man. People want to see you fail here. Like, Mayweather wasn't selling pay-per-views because they wanted to see him win. They were tired of seeing him win. They wanted to see him fail. They wanted to see who can beat him. And I think that's the difference in the UK is once it's a UK fighter, it's like they don't care. They're like, no, he's going to win. Which brings me to the topic that we're discussing here at The Win. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz. If Wilder could get past Hellenius, Mauricio Suleiman, the president of the WBC, is saying that will be a final eliminator for the mandatory to Tyson Fury. My co-host feels like we're talking about a topic that is too far in the future because he he's not 100% sure that can happen, whether it's Wilder Ruiz, Fury-Usyk, Fury Joshua, which has just been breaking a lot of airwaves. So what are your guys' thoughts? Does Fury face Joshua? Will Wilder eventually fight Ruiz, or are these fights a little bit too difficult because of politics to kind of make?
Well, as you said, at the moment, the hot news is that the Fury-Joshua fight is very close to be being made. And I was saying to you earlier, when one of the top guys loses, it normally makes the fights a lot easier to make. So I think that fight is very close to being made. Helenius is no walkover job. You see what he done to Kalinacki. So Wilder's got to still do a good job on him. So there's a lot of if, buts and maybes. And we're always in this constant cycle in heavyweight boxing. This fight's close to being made. This fight's close to being made. But we can't keep guessing. But at the minute, the fight that seems the closest to being made is Fury-Joshua. And that's a fight in the UK and Great Britain that's been hot on the appetite for a long, long time.
Did you believe that that Fury-Usyk was close? When they were talking about it, they had a weekend, a location.
Yeah, Tyson is the king of saying different things, getting people interested, and maybe saying something he doesn't really believe in. Who knows? That's the strength of Tyson Fury in terms of the psychological battles he has with people. You don't really ever really know what's going on, so it's very difficult for people to deal with. So I couldn't tell you if that fight was being close to being made.
Would you call it lying or mind games, or none of the above?
Mind games, but lying can be part of mind games, can't it? So who knows?
Big John, I gotta ask, just as a British boxing fan, what do you want to see out of the heavyweight division? Outside of your son, we're talking, the top guys, the champions in the division. As a British fan, who would you like to see?
Listen, I think as a British fan, Fury versus Joshua, people want to see it regardless whether Joshua won or lost against Usyk. But then I would like to see Fury fight Usyk, because I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. We was talking about Mike Tyson in his prime against other people in his prime. And I said, I'd just like to see the best ones of each era fight each other first as well, so we know who's the best. Mm-hmm. If Fury doesn't fight Usyk, if he doesn't fight AJ, you'll never truly know who's the best. So, in bygone eras, they did used to fight each other. So, first of all, I'd just like to see them all get in the ring and do their business. And it looks like it's going to happen that way. And as Johnny said, since AJ's lost, it might make it a little bit easier.
With Fury and AJ being such superstars, not just in the sport, but just in the world, do you think that fight, if it happens, would be in the UK, or do you think it happens in the Middle East?
Well, they said, I think they was talking about possibly Saudi Arabia, because if it happens in December in the UK, obviously it's winter time. The only place
Football World Cup is on as well.
Yeah, Football World Cup is on. The only place it could happen in the UK in the winter is probably in Wales. The
Fury gave a
Principality
few
Stadium.
dates and venues. It's going to happen in the UK. Is the dates and venues that they have? I believe they said November 12th, December.
No, November.
4th,
No, November.
and Cardiff was one.
Cardiff.
It was December 3rd and November 27th were the two dates.
December
that he gave.
17th.
Yeah, I heard December 17th as well.
Well, that's what AJ wanted.
Yeah,
The
AJ has requested for the fight to take place December 17th. Fury has replied November 26th at Wembley or December 3rd in Cardiff. And that's the dates, take it or leave it. So they're both in the UK.
I think Wembley will be touch and go, because obviously if it's raining, it's going to cause a bit of a downer on that.
So
but in Cardiff,
there's no stadium with the roof.
Cardiff.
In the Principality Stadium in Cardiff.
That's the only one. That's
I think
so.
so.
Yeah.
That's
Of
crazy.
that
Of that capacity, yeah. That's the only one.
Easy. And honestly, the World Cup's gonna be going on no matter what date it falls on.
yeah.
So regardless of if it's AJ's dates or Fury's dates, they're gonna have the
Listen,
World
I
Cup.
don't think the World Cup matters. I think if AJ fights Fury, that sells out within minutes.
Yeah, I'm
In the UK. And that's
In the
what we're
UK.
talking about, man.
I'm gonna be honest.
Over here, so many other sports get in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, the World Cup is definitely huge, but you guys don't even think that gets in the way.
That's
then.
what I'm
don't think
saying,
so,
because
yeah.
they're boxing fans. They're true boxing fans. But I
But
want to give you
that's
another
what I'm saying.
hypothetical.
This is like, as they call it, football is bigger than that's the biggest sport in the
Football
world.
in England is the biggest sport, without a shadow of a doubt. But if Fury's fighting AJ, that will surpass. Listen, if England are in the World Cup final, which I very much doubt, that might be bigger. But, Fury v AJ, everyone wants to see
Well,
it.
look, if they happen to make the final, they should go with AJ's date because it would be AJ Fury the Saturday, the finals the next day. So,
Perfect weekend.
Yeah,
you know,
that would be
So
a mad weekend.
another hypothetical on topic is obviously Wilder getting past Helenius and Ruiz. How do you have to see him beat both of those men in order for him? Because now, if he does, he's the mandatory to Fury.
Again,
And that would be a fourth fight.
yeah.
If Fury accepts, what would he have to do for you guys as fans for you to accept that fight?
Listen, I think if Wilder, it's only Fury that's beat him. You know, and on the first fight, he nearly beat Fury. But Fury's just exceptional. He's just an exceptional talent. And I think Wilder against anyone else, in my opinion, possibly wins. Even against Usyk, I think he's got the power, the tools to do it. So whether people want to see a full fight, I don't know. But if he earns the right for that full fight, then it goes there.
But is that enough for you? Him doing what he normally does? Him doing a Dominic Brazil on both Helenius and Ruiz, is that enough, or do you need anything else?
I personally don't think, in my opinion, it should be enough now because I think he's better than them two anyway, in my opinion. But I personally think Fury will fight AJ possibly twice and Usyk, and then he'll retire definitely.
But I've seen Wilder. He's been training at the UFC gym with Malik Scott as well. And I was speaking to Joe Joyce about this. He knows Malik quite well. He'll add different things to Wilder's game as well, skill-wise. But I don't even think he needs that against Helenius or Ruiz. If he takes 1 second for him to detonate that power on someone's chin. And you've seen, as you said, to Dominic Brazil, what it done to him. Seen what he done to Luis Ortiz and people like that. So in that sort of level of people, I think Wilder's a step above them. And I do think, for me, I think he's still the second best, arguably, in the world after that last performance he had against Tyson Fury. Because he did push Tyson Fury all the way in that third contest.
I would love, I agree with that. I was at that fight, and I think that if Deontay can come out, I was just telling him, if he comes out, and I see that they've been building on what he showed in that third fight, shooting the jab, throwing, going to the body, throwing in combinations. If I could see that 5-6 rounds and then he gets the knockout twice, I don't know that you can be mad at another Fury fight. I know what we've seen, but that's what I'm saying. I think Deontay needs to show it's not just the power.
Do you think he goes that route?
I've added more tools.
Now, that's us saying it, but do you guys think he actually goes that route? Like, does he fight Fury a fourth time, or does he win that Ruiz fight and maybe take a different fight?
I think everything is in Fury's hands. I think, like you said, Fury plays mind games. We've talked about it on the show today, and you never know with Fury. You don't know. No. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's a good chance that Fury fights somebody next that he hasn't even mentioned. You know, it could. Yeah. You know,
you've got so many guys queuing up. You've got Joe Joyce. You've got Frank Sanchez. They've got all different guys queuing up for these world title
Frank
shots.
Sanchez, you think he's queuing up?
Well, he's got a WBO in the WBO spot. He's quite highly ranked with the WBO, isn't he? Am I correct?
I had no clue. You know, he signed to fight Carlos Negron.
Really?
I'm not happy about that. After beating a Jagba undefeated standout heavyweight, I thought
that's what I thought. I
thought he'd go up.
I thought he'd be
And can we not forget the main man who we're all here for, Joe Joyce, looking in tremendous shape.
Absolutely.
And people will underestimate Joe.
I've seen him spar with Hunter.
Yeah.
He is something special. We had him here in your chair actually, and I kind of pointed him. Was it the 9th round? Where
yes, the 9th round. Yes, it was.
I took him to the 9th round of the Usyk AJ fight 2, where AJ landed those vicious uppercut body shots, and I'm sure you see that is Joe Joyce's specialty. Yeah. You know, Salas will shout something out, and he'll just be digging to that body. So, you know, I'm excited to see Joyce get an opportunity at Usyk. They have the rivalry. They've been there. There's familiarity. I would love to see it.
That's crazy. Frank Sanchez is number 4 in the WBO.
I can't believe it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he beat a Jagba, so he obviously got the ranking off that. But now it's like you're going to fight.
Because Joyce and Parker are 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 ranked with the WBO. So I think
it's Joyce, Parker, then Joshua, and then Frank Sanchez.
So he's right in that mix. So a guy, there's these guys. You think of the Parkers, the Joshuas, the Furies, the Usyks, all these guys. But there's even guys on that fringe who are now knocking on that door as well. So there's so many options out there for heavyweight fights. Ruiz as well. So it's a very exciting time.
In our earlier broadcast this morning, we were talking about the return of Gerald Miller, and not the real big baby, but the big baby from Brooklyn. What's your thoughts on his return, and do you think he can make it back to, I guess, title contention?
Well,
because there seems to be heavy rumors of a possible fight in the UK with one of your countrymen.
He's a very big, strong unit. Obviously, we know that he's got that brute strength. Listen, everyone makes mistakes, and I know he made that mistake the first time. But is it a couple of times now that he's been?
It's definitely a couple of times, but since the suspension, he's been on VADA for 18 months, and he's got to pay for it out of his pocket. So he can't fight without it. So hopefully he stays clean. It's a difficult one
because I don't know Jarrell Miller. I don't know him personally, so I find it very difficult to comment on someone who's in that situation. I don't think it's really my place to comment. But
well, I mean more about, can he make a comeback to title contention?
Of course he
as
can.
A fighter? Do you see him getting back up there?
Well, he's obviously started back up now. Why not? Why can't he? He's in that position. He's got a team around him. He's obviously dedicated from what you've been saying in terms of paying for the VADA testing and everything. So he's got the will and the commitment there. We know he's a big, strong unit. We know what he possesses. So, of course, he can get into that top 10 mix again.
All right. Well, John, man, I want to thank you, obviously, for coming on.
One thing before he goes, you know what the people are asking for. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Do you know what caused you to go viral? Because you got quite a lot of followers for a regular dad out there.
I can blame Johnny's brothers, my two other sons. Every time I was eating, I've been filmed without knowing, put on TikTok, and it's my love for Chinese food that's got me noticed. Whenever we do a video with Chinese food, it just has millions of views. So, but as you can tell,
Everyone
I did
can
lose
relate
2.5
to
stone.
it. They can relate to it, can't they? In England, Saturday night, everyone has a Chinese takeaway. And
really?
Yeah.
Saturday
That's
night, you work hard all week.
It's not tradition, but
Saturday
millions
night
of people
Chinese.
over the country know Saturday night you're at home watching a bit of telly, having a Chinese, and they can relate to him. And when they feel guilty about eating a Chinese, I say, "Oh, Big John's having a Chinese."
To be fair, I think that here pizza on the weekend, like for me, I think it'd be a pizza on the weekend, Saturday night,
that sort of thing.
Yeah, so
you've got to remember in London, in England, we've got a lot of people from Hong Kong. From our association with them, so it's Chinese takeaways on every corner.
Okay. So what does Bosch mean?
That's just a saying meaning everything's all right, and it's just took off. It's people like the way I say it.
Nice.
So just long may it continue.
Well, gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We'll take a quick intermission and take a picture with you guys. And if you want to give out your social media for anybody that may not be following, can do so.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's Big John 1.
And Johnny?
And my Instagram is JohnnyFisher1. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah, thank you for having us
All
on.
right. YouTube family, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.